Who's your favorite staff person?
Probably Miss Jayden.
Miss Jayden.
My name is Jayden Pettit. I go to Olivet Nazarene University up in Illinois. I'm an intercultural studies major, which is the missionary degree. I heard about Pastor Chris's ministry here at Camp Hughes. I'm really excited because it was something I wanted to do. Working at a summer camp is what I want to build when I graduate. And so getting the experience and being able to just be a part of the everyday was great. During our training, we did a lot of just learning the basics, where everything is, kind of how we clean, what we clean, when we do it. We did a lot of training online, like watching videos too, just knowing how to operate in a safe setting, and also how to deal with kids that maybe have come from a traumatic background or don't have a great home life. The average day depends on who's rotating and doing breakfast, but usually you get up, I'd say like 6 o'clock, and we prepare breakfast for the volunteers that are with us, and we sign in the kids around 7:30. Around 8 o'clock is when we have breakfast with the kids, and after about 8:30 we all separate into our various groups. Around 3 o'clock is when the parents start picking kids up, and then around 5 o'clock is when extended fun is finally finished, which is the kids whose parents work late. So we usually operate from about 6:30 to about 5 o'clock. What I learned about myself is that I actually can manage more than I thought. Coming in, I thought maybe I could do tops 2 hours with a whole bunch of kids, and then I would be totally just, out of it, no energy. I would do something wrong, say something wrong, and I learned that I have a lot more perseverance, and that was one thing that Pastor Chris taught us, was perseverance. When every day starts to blur together in some ways, getting up early every day or getting a craft ready every day, it can get a little boring, but you learn to persevere because you're making a difference in these kids' lives, and you're building relationships and building a community in that way. The older kids have less of a desire to be there because they don't want to be treated like kids, but they have nowhere else to go, most of them. Once you break that wall of, I'm gonna listen to you and understand what you're trying to say, and I'm not gonna treat you like a baby, they really start to talk to you, and they tell you about what they like Naruto or their favorite cartoon or TV show, and then they start telling you about their home life. No conversation is meaningless. One thing I learned is that it doesn't matter what you're talking about, if it's something like what food they ate yesterday, or if it's something like what are they going to do tomorrow, or where they went over the weekend. It's important because there's something in there they want you to know about them, about what they're trying to tell you, their feelings towards you. So if you ignore it even once, you lose that kid's, you lose a little bit of their trust. So the first lesson A that you learn is, where are you getting your energy and your drive from? If you go through camp and it's a hard day and your kids aren't really listening, or you're just exhausted, where do you go? Do you go straight to Netflix, or do you go straight to talking on the phone with someone? Or I learned that the thing you should go straight to is actually prayer, and just listening to what the Lord has to say, because most of the time just one word from Him can just spike your energy. Lesson B is definitely to be aware of yourself too. When you're around a bunch of kids who hear everything and they're listening, or you're around roommates who, if it's your first time just jumping and living with someone you don't really know, you can learn that there are certain parts of you that may rub off the wrong way, or maybe come off in a way that you weren't aware. And so you're really aware of yourself, aware of what you're saying, how you behave around other kids, how you behave around other people. And the third thing is to try something new, to jump in. One thing that we do here is we get all this knowledge through training of what we're supposed to do, and then we jump into the experience to actually learn how to do it in the moment. Enough you can read about stuff all the time and still not know what you're supposed to be doing. So just jumping in and getting that experience, and it's scary. And you have to try a lot of new things. If something doesn't work one day, you have to try doing something different another day. And it's not always easy, and it really definitely pulls you and stretches you, but also causes you to grow an awful lot. And I have to say that I am more confident in my leadership skills, and also being able to just be around kids and to build a community than I ever thought I would be. The books that I think I enjoyed the most were the biographies. And autobiographies from different missionaries and different people throughout the ages, just doing what Pastor Chris does. Even if it's just setting up an orphanage, or it's providing home for or food or anything like that. You learn like these firsthand experiences that just kind of stretch your thinking to, okay, this is a different time and a different day and a different situation. How can I apply that here? They're all interesting books, but surprisingly, the one I feel like I got the most out of was Equipping Church, which is about church ministry and how you change your church to something that's more of not just the pastor, but also it's more of the people in the church. It's the actual church. Each team and volunteer group that comes in is a different personality altogether. You have some that are like go-getters, like let's just do the work. You have others that are more like, let's sit around and talk about Jesus somewhat. And you have others that just want to eat food. Your leadership is not just learning to tell them where to go, but it's also learning how to get them moving. When they're not sure what to do, one thing I learned is teenagers don't go unless you tell them where to go, how to do it, and how long it's going to take them, and what they're going to do afterward. Your dorm life really depends on your dorm mates, your roommates. If you have someone who's a louder personality, like me, people are going to get tired of you really quick. So you got to learn how to set boundaries, how to quiet down and take some time to low energy, and you gotta learn how to operate around each other too. So if one person's getting up at 6 while the next person's getting up at 6:30, I mean, you're gonna hear an alarm. So it's learning how not to be grumpy when 15 minutes of your sleep has been taken away trying to go back to sleep. My most surprising thing was actually how open Pastor is to having people do different things. I come from a long line of, this is how we do things, this is how it's going to be, very structured, like there's no room to move kind of. Coming here, everything can be moved around, everything can be changed, or we can try new things each day. And so being able to spread my wings and do things that I was so excited to get to do and just to try, that was great. It was surprising because I figured a day camp, you're gonna be super, super, tight on schedule. But instead I've been able to learn in all different ways, trying out my different ideas and doing different things. If you don't want to do craft for this day, you can do a different craft. Or if you would rather have a little more free time instead of do this, you can do that as well. If you want to try a group game or Jeopardy, like I got to do, you can try that too. It's not always going to end well. It's not always going to be great and be a shooting success, but it'll teach you, whether it works or not, it'll teach you in some way, something new. I'd say I'd be prepared for anything. Set boundaries right away. Make sure you communicate, especially with your interns, with the other interns. Communicate, because you're a family for the whole 10 weeks. I recommend anyone, because this is a great place to learn persistence. It's a great place to learn how to operate with people, around people, and just how to be aware of yourself. When you're in ministry, no matter where it's at, you're gonna have to learn how to do these things, how to minister to people, how to change your tactics, how to kind of do things differently. You're gonna have to learn persistence wherever you go, because if you're in the business field or you're in the mission field or you're studying abroad, whatever you're doing, you're gonna need persistence because it's gonna get hard and it's gonna get tough and you're gonna get tired, and just copping out is not an option because there's people depending on you.